Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another video which explores my weekly playlist of what I've been playing. I haven't done one of these for a while because I've had so many box sets and albums to actually review that's basically been what I've been playing. So what I do try and do is take time out from stuff I'm reviewing or doing features on and just play music for the sheer fun of playing music. And then when I do that, it's nice to share with you why I've picked what I have. Sometimes I don't play the whole album. I know that might be a bit sacrilege to some of you. Sometimes I just cherry pick stuff for certain tracks. But I think most of what I'm going to show you now has been played this week. And what I've tried to do is have an album that I play one per day, so that it has my complete attention, because I've had so much to review, and I am going to cover, the Rory Gallagher big CD set. You saw me do the vinyl one the other day, but this has been stuff I've been playing for the fun of it, and a lot of it I've had for a long time. The first one I'm going to talk about is actually already here and on Sue's music stand, and it is John McLaughlin, and it is Electric Guitarist. Now, the reason I'm playing this is I've recently found an absolutely mint copy on vinyl, with the gatefold sleeve, nice bendy 1978 vinyl it is. I always had it on a Japanese CD before this. This, to me, is one of the finest examples of jazz rock, jazz fusion there is. If I tell you who's on it, those of you of a certain age, or those of you who are just getting into jazz rock and jazz, listen up. Do you hear Voices That You Left Behind? John McLaughlin on guitar, Chick Corea on piano and mini-moog, Stanley Clarke and Jack D. Jonte on drums, Jack Bruce, Tony Williams on the next track, Billy Cobham, Jerry Goodman. It's a whole of the Manhattan Orchestra people are on here. Billy Cobham's on that as well. Narada Michael Walden on drums. Absolutely superb stuff. David Sanborn on alto sax. Fantastic. There isn't a bad track on this. If you want to get into jazz fusion, there are worse places to start than this. Beautiful music. Yes, people are stretching out, but it's also incredibly musical. So that has been played this week. Next up is a classic. I haven't got this one. I've got it on CD, sorry, I was going to say. But I have been playing the vinyl version. And it is Bad Company. Can you see that? From 1974. Let's just bring that a bit closer in. This album I bought after buying the single Can't Get Enough when I was at school. It cost me 48 pence. And the B-side was, what was it? I can't remember. And which is sad really, because it's one of my favourite tracks by Bad Company. But no, it's gone. It'll come back by the end of the programme, I'm sure it will. But it wasn't the single that, there's different versions of this on the gatefold. This is the English one. Can you see that? This is the English version. But the tracks were rock steady. This was free in a way, but now stadium rock band. So on this album, the tracks that really meant the most to me were Bad Company. The delivery from Paul Rodgers, the storytelling, as I've said before with Paul Rodgers, when he lets go of the rail, when he moves towards the ad-lib at the end, but I'm young and I'm free, that kind of, I just identified with it. I still do. It's still one of my favourite Paul Rodgers performances. I think the track Bad Company, and of course on the same side is Seagull, which is a fantastic song. When I was growing up, obviously this was the decade when I was trying to grow up. Seagull, about kind of like it reminded me of trying to avoid going into a life in a factory, which didn't quite work as I wanted it to. But the idea of running away to the coast, which comes up with another album I picked this week. But I loved it. And Moving On, that track, which was a Motley Hoople song, wasn't it? But I also love the end of Moving On when it goes into that separate riff. And you want it to go on for longer. Those of you who know this track will know what I mean. And it just changes right at the end. And you think, just keep going, keep going. And it doesn't. It only play like 2 bars of that. It's fantastic. And on the first side was Rocksteady, which was a fairly metallic riff, I have to say. Ready for Love was another Motley Hoople track. And Don't Let Me Down. Bad Company, 1974. So it's been great revisiting that. The B-side of Can't Get Enough is still escaping my memory banks. So I'm going to have to pause the video just for a second while I go and have a look and see what that is. It's Little Miss Fortune. As I said, 48 pence from the local shop down by the Wheat Sheaf where I lived in Sheldon. That was the B-side, and I've always loved that track. It wasn't on this studio album, but it is on the 2 CD deluxe edition, which I'm going to do a separate video on Bad Company, but that's the version to get. This is nostalgic to play this, but the 2 CD version is just stunning. Right, so that has been 2 choices for this week. Another one has been Whitesnake, the purple album revisited, the gold one. Now, I covered this on the channel when I looked at the vinyl version, and quite a few of you said, Phil, I understand you're a fan of this album, because I am, but the one you need to get is the 2 CD and Blu-ray version, and guess what? I have. And you were right. This is the one to get, because it's action-packed full of stuff, but the stuff that I really liked listening to and watching this week was the DVD, the Blu-ray, and particularly the track-by-track section, because I learned a lot. Even for me, who feel I know a lot about the Purple family and the story, listening to David Coverdale talk so eloquently and about the past and how songs like, Might Just Take Your Life came about. This is a track, of course, which starts with John Lord's terrific Hammond chords, and the fact that this track came about after Coverdale had been left on his own with Blackmore, Pace and Hughes, and he was so nervous he didn't sing for literally a couple of days, and it wasn't until John Lord came back and they had a chat and gave him some confidence that he started to come out of himself. There's stories like that, and the way that he was involved, obviously because Coverdale plays guitar. Those of you who bought or are going to buy the new North Winds and first Whitesnake album, the Solo Years box set, know when you hear his demos from 1968, he could strum a mean guitar. He could have been John Marty, perhaps. But this, listening him talk about how Mistreated came about, and Blackmore come up behind him and saying, I didn't know you played guitar, and that's how that song came about. I found it stunning. Some of the tracks are a little bit bombastic, so I do know how critics of this period of the Purple album understand that, but it's Mr. Coverdale. It's what he likes, isn't it? Change of direction now, but just as bombastic, and this is one of Sue's box sets. It's Mahler, the complete works. This is a great box set. It's 16 CDs, and it's Mahler Symphony No. 5 that has been played here at Now Spinning Magazine Towers. A lot of classical music. They were like the prog masters and heavy metal masters of their day. When you listen to a lot of really intense classical music, it's prog. It is. Yeah, and as I think one of Sue's favourite conductors is Sir Simon Rattle, and here, what's he saying? I'll simply die without Mahler. So I've been playing Mahler's 5th Symphony this week. Absolute superb. And Sue will be joining me on a couple of videos next month as well. What else? Are we nearly there? I think we might be, because I've tried to keep it to literally 7 albums, so I hope I've got the 7 albums. The next one is from 1969, and this is Cold. I'll take out the cover because it's shiny. This is Cold Blood, which I heard about on a compilation album called The Age of Atlantic, and it was a track called I'm a Good Woman. And I've been after this for years. I've got it on CD with the follow-up album as well from 1969. And it's Lydia Pence is the vocalist, and she has such a wonderful, soulful, emotive voice. It's absolutely, I love this album. The next one isn't quite as good as this, but this is a superb record. Let me know if you've got this as well, because I think it's quite hard to find. It's on the San Francisco record label, 1969. So that has been a great find. And then finally, to drift out, just checking I've covered everything off, to drift out here is Tangerine Dream and Rubycon. Let's just bring that back in because I think my camera's trying to move. That's better. Rubycon from 1975. This is like liquid music that just floats and pours out of the speakers. It's my favourite Tangerine Dream album, period. It takes me back to when I first bought a Sony Walkman. And so this is the late 70s, would it be? Yeah, late 70s. It was one of the first Walkmans. I was one of the first people in my group of friends to buy a Walkman. And because I went on the bus, I wasn't driving then, I worked in factories, and I just wanted to just disappear when I was on the bus to music. And I hitchhiked. Let's just take that, get the glare off that if I can. Move the camera back. Got a new camera, can you tell? And I hitchhiked to Newquay in Cornwall, which hitchhiking now, I can't imagine many parents allowing their kids to hitchhike now, but I did that back in the day. It was, I hated working where I did. Was it around the time Eddie and the Hot Rods, Do Anything You Want to Do, escape from the city, get down to the ocean. And because a lot of my friends couldn't get time off work, and I just wanted to get away, and I went to Newquay, and I used to go to the Victoria Bars, which is like a rock pub, so you could always meet people, etc. But I remember one morning, the tide was out, and I put the Walkman on, and I turned it up, and the tide was right out, so I was able to walk. Those of you who know Newquay and Cornwall, I was able to walk from the harbour all the way along the beach, all past all the beaches, right down to Porth Beach, where I came up onto the land, went down onto Watergate Bay, and we went all the way along there. I think I even found a dead sheep in a cave, something really weird. But it lasted the whole of that album, and I had it on loud, and it was a beautiful sunny day, the waves, it was, I can't remember what time of year it was, but there wasn't many people around. And to this day, whenever I play Rubycon, I am transported back to walking along the sea and the waves and everything. And it was the perfect music for that environment. There are two parts of Rubycon, two parts in particular, where it's really melancholy and quite eerie, the music, before it goes into the electronic pulsing and stuff. But if you don't really know much about Tangerine Dream, this is a doorway into their world. This is one of the best doorways into their world, I feel. It's just a marvellous album. The way it ends, it's just like, you can see here, it's just like I think it could be a little drop of milk falling into a drop of milk. It's just a very mysterious, perfect piece of ambient music. It really, really is. So that has been my playlist for this week. So let me know what you have been playing this week. I've missed one out. Have I? I think I have. I don't know if I can find it, but I have just missed one out. There's another one. This is it. Sorry. I have reviewed this, but I felt I wanted to mention it again because although I said at the start, this is all stuff that I've been just listening to for the pure joy of it. Tabor and the Oysterband. This album, Ragged Kingdom, has been on our record player every day, whereas the other ones I've played and it's been dedicated to them. This album has been played just after tea here. Me and Sue have put this on, and Sue absolutely loves it. And thank you, all of you, for suggesting other June Tabor and Oysterband albums that I should be listening to, because that's really, really helpful, but absolutely superb. So that is the complete Phil Aston playlist for this week. So thank you for watching, and thank you for those of you who recently bought t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff. That's really helpful and really helping me do what I do here. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel if that's where you're watching this. That helps as well. You become a patron or a YouTube member. And then we get to meet up on our bi-weekly virtual meetups as well. But remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here and all of your support and messages. And keep spinning those discs, and I'll see you all really, really soon.